Hello, everybody, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Influential Women. I'm so excited. Erin Gust is here, and she's actually her office is always right next to me. So to actually finally have her here sitting, it's taken, a year to get you here?
Year and a half, yeah.
Well, just welcome finally to a different chair in my office. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you for having me.
You are truly a gem. And we have a lot of girl talk to talk about today, and we're drinking wine. Mm-hmm. So let's cheers. Let's get this podcast started. Right, here we go. If you're at home, make sure you cheers with us, except for you if you're driving in the car.
Let's not do that. No. That's really good.
No, but Erin, she's kind of like the silent ninja in our lives, and we would not be able to do the things we do without you. My husband once said that you were his work wife, and obviously if it's another wife in his life, I want it to be, and you've always just been an incredible person. So I'm so excited to share your journey and your story and have everybody know about Miss Erin Gust. Hello. What was your maiden name?
Erin
Hailey.
So I would actually have teachers and friends and stuff like that could never really pronounce my name. So I had one teacher actually in 6th grade that couldn't pronounce my first name or my last name. And then as a younger kid, I could never pronounce my middle name, which is Stephanie. I would say Sniffany. So my teacher actually said Urine Higley. So for me, it was like Urine Sniffany Higley. It was butchered.
That is funny. Yep. You always had a butchered name, but Gust. Most people get Gust.
Yep. Yeah. Gust.
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself, Miss Erin.
Well, so if anybody sees me around, they usually know that I've worked with Matt for... Actually, I just hit my 7-year anniversary, this last Sunday, so it's been 7 years.
Did we do anything to celebrate? Because you're in charge of all that. No.
Man, we're slackers. Maybe when it's 10 years, we'll go with that.
Oh, we're going big for 10.
I'm like a lifer. But yeah, I'm actually from Florida, so Panama City, Florida, which is a big spring break destination down there. My husband and I both are from there. We're high school sweethearts. We've been married for just over almost 19 years this year. We have 2 boys. Actually, one's here at work with me today.
And they're so sweet. You raise some really good humans.
That's the big goal, is always to, instill our kids to be more productive in society and just be able to be self-sufficient. And so they've grown along with everything that we've done and we do. They're part of everything. They are my world, my life. So yeah, and a little bit more about me. I'm just I'm very quiet. Most people know that I am pretty quiet. I do have some, fun, outbursts, and, you find me dancing around at some point in my house or something, but, more quiet. I like to craft, paint, just find that outlet to have that almost like zen for myself, because everything is moving so fast. Obviously working with Matt, we go 100 miles an hour, and how you can keep up with him, but I also need that yin to the yang type of thing where I can just mellow out at home and just enjoy it.
Absolutely. And so high school sweethearts, what brought you to Colorado?
Well, my husband was military, so he is actually retired. So actually we've lived in Colorado for about 16 years now total. We went to Texas one point, and that's where we had our boys, and then we came back. So we love it here, and I think that Pueblo for me is more of that balance between obviously having the mountains but having the lake as well. So being around the beaches my whole life, that's a nice thing to be able to go to the lake and have that, and the heat too. So not humidity, but dry heat.
It's definitely dry.
Yes.
What is your why?
My why?
I already know the answer, I'm pretty sure, but
absolutely is my family.
Your boys. You have 3 boys, and that's your world.
I am a boy mom through and through. I was actually a tomboy when I was a kid, so for us just to, the frilly thing like this is not a normal thing for me.
Frilly thing, means
frilly.
Is my backdrop, because it's like a wall of pink flowers.
Yes.
It's kind of pink, but I wanted it to feel like womany, like when
oh
you
yeah,
came
absolutely.
In.
It's gorgeous.
Because a lot of things, like we work with a lot of men.
Oh yeah.
Snooze and blue, so I had to change it up.
There's a good balance.
So you're a tomboy. Did you do
yep.
sports, or what made you a tomboy?
Oh, I would just be the one that would wrench on cars. I have a love for cars as well, but
you do. Tell me more.
I like vintage cars. I like car shows.
Do you do a lot of car shows?
I did at one point. I was actually pen up a little bit. I would dress up in 50s.
A pin-up girl. Yep. And your husband's a photographer.
He is, yes.
So then you're like his own private model too.
Yes.
Wow.
I guess I'm his muse. you say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of photos around the house and just different characters, type of outfits. So we go to different, like when we go camping or whatnot, we find beautiful destinations, and we kind of just, and the boys help with them too. They have the lights and they hold things and they know what to do, and they're kind of dad's right hand to help with that. But yeah.
I love it. So cars, like what's your dream car?
Dream car
vintage
is
car.
a 67 Mustang, Ford Mustang, midnight blue.
Midnight blue with like stripes or just straight up midnight blue?
Stripes are okay, but none.
Do you know what kind of Mustang we have?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
No.
I don't either. But it's blue and it's like 60-something Mustang.
Oh, okay. My favorite one is actually from Gone in 60 Seconds. And most people will know.
Okay.
The
So if you're a
car.
car person, obviously,
know.
yeah, I'm girly girl, but I was a tomboy. Like, I kind of still am a tomboy.
I think it just comes in phases. Like I'll get dressed up in formal gowns because we've had balls that we've had to go to and that sort of thing. So it's fun to have that outlet as well. But even for me, I'm like a jeans and t-shirt, kind of just roll with it and, get my hands dirty type of
When
thing.
a lot of time we wear the same stuff. Like, I think I have that same top.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, we'll come to work together and we're like either in cheetah or
Oh,
I don't know.
yes.
It's so
Yes.
funny. We have like the same style.
Right. I
By the
love
way,
it.
you look amazing today.
Thank you.
Even with that champagne that just spilled a little on your pants. She had never opened up a champagne bottle.
Not like that, no.
Oh, not like
No.
that.
I usually let my husband or somebody else do it because I don't know.
But you did good.
Hey, thanks.
That was fun. I'm proud of you.
New thing.
New thing.
Might have to do it more often.
You should. So you grew up in Florida. What's one of your favorite childhood memories?
Ooh. It would have to be, which is a big deal for me, my grandparents. We lived in Georgia. They lived in Georgia. We'd always visit and stay the summers. And we'd had a bike, actually like the banana seat bikes, and they have a hill. We would just ride down. But my grandfather would grow strawberries. We would be in the backyard picking strawberries. I would be on his tractor just going for rides. I was always his like buddy to go get ice cream when there's ice cream, like little soft serve machines. So it was always sprinkles and frozen yogurt for me.
Oh.
It was the swirl type is my favorite. And that was just, it's always one of those things where their home was always the place to be. And so yeah, it's always my grandparents for sure.
Very country life.
Yeah, in a way, not so much. But my aunt was actually more country because she would live out on land in Kentucky, actually where they live now. But Georgia was more of in the honeysuckles, like just remembering certain smells. It just kind of triggers those fun memories. But yeah.
I love it. And you're a mom. How do you balance work and mom life? And
The ultimate question.
yeah.
Sometimes I think balance is kind of one of those words where it's just throw it out the window because everybody's like, I'm trying to find balance. Well, we all have the same amount of hours in the day that get done. But reality is priorities. What's first? You got to take time for yourself, and then you can't pour from an empty cup. And to give my kids and my husband the most time from me, I have to have time for myself.
So what do you do for you?
So I actually, in this year, you and I both talked about this, where we have like the word of the year type of thing, and that was a big deal for me because usually I'm for everybody else first. And at this point, I'm like, mom's gonna do something for herself first.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We're cheersing. I love that because as moms and busy women, working women, like we tend to put ourselves on the back burners, and it is so important to put ourselves first. You and I like put our families first, and lately we've been putting ourselves first.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
And it's hard because some people think it's selfish. And
I don't think it's selfish.
No, because you're doing everything you can for your family or your team where you're working. I mean, it's all the aspects of life. You're giving everything. And at some point you feel drained. You feel like, okay, what about me? What do I do for myself? And now I actually, as of the new year, which, New Year's resolutioners, it's always a big deal. But I decided, clean start, let's do this. And so I started working out about 5. I usually get up about 4:30 on a good day, maybe 5 o'clock. Work out for about 30 to 45 minutes, maybe to an hour, just to focus on myself because, you have to. I'm getting a little older. What made you
get motivated? Granted, it was a new year, but sometimes, like, when we get stuck in those easy life, normal lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? Like, what motivated you to be like, okay, it's time for me again?
I almost feel like it's more of a rut. You go through the daily, it's just you're doing the same thing every day, and it's just like, okay, by the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I have no energy to even think about going for a run, which I'm still working on that. I'm not a runner, but at the same point, I need to be. I need to be more active. But it was more of that feeling like you're in a rut. What else can I do more of that's just for me? Even if it's, 20 minutes on a spin bike, or I'm lifting heavy, which I love lifting heavy. I just need to get back to that. I've actually, when you're sedentary for so long, it really takes a toll on your body, which I'm pretty sure our friends in the chiropractic world, Mike and Patricia, would not be very happy to know that, we sit so much, because they always tell you that it's not healthy. You have to keep your body moving. As I feel like as I'm getting older, it's more, you feel more stiff. Like you realize one day you roll out of bed and you're like, oh, my back.
Like you feel getting older.
Yeah.
Like you don't feel like, like.
I'm not as spry, or I'm like, I can sit in Indian style forever. Now I'm like, my knee doesn't go that way. So, it's realizing that, there is more. My kids are, one's about to be 15 and a 12-year-old. So I have teenagers, and, keeping up with them, because I was snowboarding after a while of not working out enough. That also didn't do really well on my knees. Like to even get up on the board, that hurts. And I'm sitting there flip-flopping on the snow. But to keep up with them and to do new things and just find that way and just keep engaged. I mean, my husband, which he'll be happy about this, because we've been talking about, he's been trying to get me to play golf. I'm not a golfer, but I do like to play putt-putt. But however, he did buy me, yeah, I'm cheesy like that. We did buy myself a set last night, actually. So
did you?
Yep. So
Awesome.
I'm going to take it up because they play golf. They're going to have lessons again this year. So trying to go on the golf team for my oldest son. So, there's different things that, challenge myself, and it's the same word, growth. Do something different.
So that's your word this year is growth.
Growth.
So what else are you doing for growth? You're working out in the mornings. You're making
Growing
that
my
time
muscles,
for you.
yep.
Growing those muscles. You're growing your level of not knowing how to do golf. So, you're signing up for golf. What else?
So I'm actually growing out my hair, which I'm sure you can tell. I usually have a faux hawk.
She rocks the coolest hairstyle. But I did not, this is news to me. You're growing it out?
Yep.
How come? Because it's the year of
I want to do
growth?
something different, and, I miss having a ponytail. I have all the tools at home to use and to curl my hair and whatnot. I'm like, can't really do that with short hair, which, however, that is a hard thing to do, because at this point I'm like, I'm ready to chop it off. So
Are you?
I have to get Jess over at Palos to make sure she kind of like, are you sure you want to do this? Okay, we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah,
all right.
because you rock it. I could not pull off your hairstyle, but you just always have a fun little edge to it.
And that's the part of it. I'm like a chameleon. I love to change up my hair. This is more natural. I am a brunette. Usually I go more blonde, and, I've done the platinum thing. I've had, a little bit of pink in my hair.
Oh, the purple.
Yeah, a little bit of highlights with that in there, yep.
I'm kind of excited to see you with long hair. I've never seen it.
I might actually get extensions, maybe. We'll see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might just be a
I
shortcut.
have a wig, actually, but I just don't wear it. It was
You
for
have a
Halloween.
wig?
I do, yep.
I love it. You know what? Dolly did it right.
Oh, yeah. You can't
it's
tell.
just easier. Yeah, right?
Yep.
So who's been, you're on the Influential Women podcast because, well, first of all, we couldn't do life without you, and you're so influential in our lives. You truly are. I call you like the quiet ninja. Because, you're always, doing all the stuff in the back. You don't like the show like Matt does, but you do so much. Who's been an influential woman in your life?
Let's see. I'm going to say my mother. However, she's obviously the gear towards all of that, because obviously I wouldn't be here without my mother. And she's gone through a lot of stuff. I mean, she's a hardworking woman. But I think it's more so seasons for me. Because of my mother, my aunt, and then it goes into friendships that I've had over the years, or coworkers that I've had over the years. Even to hear, obviously you, Mia, Leah, Nicole here. It's just a lot of different factors to me, and I think it's you pull something from each one of them, just like they have the grit and they love what they're doing. There may be a rough day, but they're still smiling and pushing and going for their goals and achieving what they want to do, which is a beautiful thing to me. And I think that's the biggest part of being an influential woman, is just what you're projecting out into the world, and then obviously how you're helping others as well. So I don't have a specific person in general. It's just different seasons of my life.
Well, and I like that because, it depends on where you're at in your journey, because you have different pieces from each journey and chapter and season that you're in. You said that beautifully. And then too, like even everyday people, you kind of steal those pieces that
Absolutely.
you love and admire about them that you find influential, and then you kind of can make that into your own.
I love it.
What are 3 words that best describe you?
Ooh. Quiet, quirky, dedicated.
The next one has to be a Q word.
Sweet.
Wait, no. Still not a cute word.
I don't know. Well, what do you see?
Quiet, quirky.
I don't know.
I think you're bold.
I like it. Okay. See, I never actually see myself like that. I just feel like it's just, even with like my hair, it's bold for some people. And
Yeah.
like, it's just.
You're always bold
natural.
in everything that you do. And then you're genuine. Like you're one of the most genuine, sincere people I've ever met.
You were too sweet.
So let me tell you, the first time we met Erin, let me tell you about somebody with grit and resilient, like going from.
Oh my gosh, we're going back, aren't we? We're going way back.
Let's go back. I first met Erin when I just had, Paisley as a baby and Parker, so like 1 and a baby.
Yeah, I remember you were pregnant with Paisley.
I was pregnant with Paisley, so I just had Parker. That's right. And you ran our Snap Fitness daycare.
I did.
Right? You came in, and she came in like the next day, like, okay, this isn't organized enough for me. And you came in like with this whole folder and what you're gonna do. And how long did you do the daycare for?
So that was about 1.5 years. So a little story before that, actually, when my husband and I, we lived in the Springs, we were actually looking here in Pueblo for a home. And because we wanted to have the space, because obviously in the Springs, there's not a whole lot of homes with space and a playground. So here, at least you get some acreage. So the first thing we found a house, and then the next thing was like, okay, where's the gym? Because then I was really hard into the gym. I was almost to the competitor side. Just didn't push myself completely to that realm. But that was the next step, was to find the gym that was closest to the home that we had chose. And as soon as that happened, the assistant manager at that time, I believe it was, what was his name? Mullen. No, I can't remember. But anyways, the assistant, I kept pestering him. I'm like, so I see that the child watch is coming. When is it coming? Because my younger kids, they were small at the time, and I'm like used to them going to the gym and having some sort of interaction with kids. And they're like, well, actually, we're still building it. You want to go see it? Sure. So he took me through the building, and I got to see it. And I'm like, okay, are you hiring? Because at that point, I was getting myself back into the workforce, because I stayed out of work for about 8 years to raise my kids. So I was a stay-at-home mom for a little while. And at that point, because my background is actually management, I actually worked in pharmacies and that sort of thing, and fashion, department stores and whatnot. But I really did pester him. I'm like, so when's it happening? When are you opening? Can I get my application in? And then that's when I met with Kendra. We had the interview with Matt. That was intimidating, because it was the two of them sitting there, and I was like, it's the first interview in years.
Oh,
but
that is funny.
It was so nice, and they were welcoming and everything. So, I had gotten the position.
I remember Matt coming home and he was like, I found the perfect person to take over the daycare, because I'm like, I have a young baby, and I'm like, okay, well, who is it? Let me see. I need an interview. He goes, no, it was a stay-at-home mom. She's just getting back in. They just moved here. She's going to be the perfect fit.
So, that's sweet. But yeah, it was me and Amanda. I think it was the one that started there. And, I had been pestering so much, but then we didn't know when the actual opening date was. So I was actually hired early on, and they were like, okay, so it was slow going. But once, I had time in there to really decorate and what we could do in there and what we needed. But the thing with Matt was challenging, because he was like, well, what else do we need? Because he wanted to grow the child care child watch into a child care and what that looked like. So I did all the research into it, because there was different licensing that you had to have. You have to separate each age group, because I was actually looking at educational plans as well of what we could teach the kids, because I also watched Kendra's kids. And I remember teaching, I believe it was Connor, how to tie his shoes. I actually had a little box created for my kids, because it was like a little mock shoe. And he was like, I can't tie my shoes. I was like, yes, you can. So we just worked on it. So you taught
Connor, and now he's turning like 12. I just got his birthday invitation this
year. Yeah, I think my youngest and him are really good friends in school. Like they go to the same school together. So.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So tell me about your journey. Like, you started in Child Watch, and then Matt saw so much potential, and he was like, all right, I could use you for so much more in my life. Because that's when, we kind of started to grow. He was working at Denver Mattress still.
Right.
We,
Yeah, because I would only see Matt once a week, and we knew every Thursday that was meeting day. So it was just, we never really seen him. Now, so many years into that, and Matt's everywhere. Matt's, you don't really have, you're kind of around each other all the time now with meetings and whatnot. But then it was more so, I can't remember exactly I think we were just expanding into the spa. I think it was like they were growing some more. And at that point, it was, time to, he was just looking into different things. And he's like, so I'm thinking this would be another option for you for your operation. So I did that for another 1.5 to 2 years, just getting things cleaned up because it wasn't as organized as it could have been. And then, me, and at that point it was Josh, he was the GM. So him and I would go back and forth on reporting and try to organize what hadn't been organized before or what was missing. So then we started planning more events and membership appreciation type of things. So it was just really jumping in and, filling in those different positions. I mean, I would get over there with the cleaning crew and be like, all right, we got to clean the toilets. Let's go. I mean, it was just, and I was doing that when I was in child watch too, because if we were having, an hour with nothing to do, I'm like, well, I'm here, so I'll come help you clean. So it was always jumping in wherever help needed, but then finding those per se gaps that needed to be tweaked or filled in, or how can we do things better. So it was always something that was evolving into something else. And just the way that Matt does things, it was just like, all right, how can we do this better? What can Snap do?
And that's something I've always admired in you. You've always just kept doing more and kept doing more. And I think that's how you've grown to be the COO of all the companies. Like, you are COO. And after we say that in every morning meeting, we have to give high fives. Boom. Yeah, yes. I love that. And so what a journey to start in child watch to being a COO of multi-businesses. Yes. What, for somebody who maybe is a stay-at-home mom and, wanting to get back in the workforce, or somebody just starting, to get into the workforce again, what advice do you give to be able to grow and be in the position you are today?
My advice to that is it will be scary. It is something that it's an unknown, but it's worth putting your foot out there. It's worth getting the feelers out there to see, is that something you want to do? Look at what you currently do in your home. There's so many different things that we do as a parent, a mother, especially a stay-at-home parent in general, that, you're not just making sure the kids are good. You're the nurse. No. You're
everything. That's the hardest job in the world, is being a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
Don't you think? You're COO of several businesses right now.
Yes.
That's still the hardest job you probably have ever done.
Hardest, but most rewarding as well.
Absolutely.
So I think there's a good balance with it. But I think Stephanie was actually asking about that because someone she knows was looking for advice on interviews. And I remember that interview where it was like, well, what are your qualifications? Well, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I kiss boo-boos. I'm making food. We're doing all these different things, going on little outing adventures, walking around, riding bike, teaching them how to do things. It's a big thing. You're the ultimate teacher in that regard. But now when it comes to an interview and you're trying something different, look at what you currently do, because you're making a budget for your family. Right? That's finances. You're teaching how to tie a shoe. You are a teacher. You're a coach. You care. What is that effect that you're doing in your home that you can apply it at a workforce? When
you're multitasking so many different things too, and I think that's why you fit well with Max. My husband moves at so many different levels and so quickly, like squirrel, cat,
Yep.
So many things, and you were able to adapt to him, and so many people can't. So many people cannot take in that kind of personality, but I think you being a stay-at-home mom and being able to do that with kids, because
my kids are within 3 years of each other, so it was always, and plus I was at home for 6 months just being a single mom, so I had to figure out how to do things with 2 kids under the age of 5. So you make do with what the situation that you are currently in. You don't try to make it as a negative thing. Take it as, okay, we're going to figure this out. We're going to do it. It's not going to be perfect, not going to be 100%. Somebody's going to cry. I may cry. I cried, a lot, because my husband and I, we are a team. We are a team unit that, we both are 100% involved in our kids. We're 100% involved in whatever we are doing. And it shows, because that is also my character as well. Because, growing up, you have to be strong. You do what you have to do. And so, I would say go for it. If that's something that you want to do, go for it.
Go all in.
Go all in. And even with Matt, that was a challenge for me, because being quiet, and I'm like, all right, I can jump in and do these things, but it's like, all right, he is like, the Tasmanian devil type of thing, where he's spinning everywhere. But it's, how can you figure out how to pivot in that direction, or at least kind of gauge where he's going or what the thought process is on it. So then you can create the plan.
But
on
then
the
too,
back
you're
end.
always adding value. You're always thoughtful in where you can add value to that. And you bring it to the table where a lot of people are like, I'm just going to do what I need to do. But you're always like, okay, we're going here. What could I do to, and that's just what you're amazing at.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, because a lot of people, they have a hard time with things moving fast. And at some point, if it goes slow, I think there's a process to things, which is a big lesson in itself. Like, create that process, create that structure so that you can be on the right foot from the very beginning. So you're not trying to backpedal and fix anything from, where it could have been from the beginning. So, and then it's just having teams that are there as well that are on the same wavelength as
They fit
whoever
your
it is.
culture and who you are and what you're about.
Yep.
And we have an amazing team here.
Oh yeah, I love everybody.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
I don't know. Go with the flow. I mean,
You are so go with the flow.
you kind of have to be at some point, because it's going to happen the way it's meant to happen. And then if it's not, it's a lesson. Like, okay, like the whole thing of failing, that was a big lesson for me as well, is failing. I always thought, not being able to complete a task exactly when it needed to be done, I felt like it was a failure. However, that is a lesson. Okay. Oh, I didn't like how that made me feel, or that's not giving my best. Okay, try again. Some people don't like hearing try as a word, but it's like sometimes you have to try, like even with kids, or, if something falls, kids fall and bump their elbow. They start crying, and you want to make it better, but at the same time,
Kids
it's like,
cry
okay.
a lot, just for the record.
Yes.
I remember with Parker, I'm like, dude, I suck as a mom. This kid cries all the time. And then you know what? The second, third, or whatever.
You're like, oh, you're okay.
They cry. It's what they do. They do it on a daily basis. Get used to it. Like Matt's aunt, we were in Florida a couple weeks ago, and she goes, let's see if we can have a day. Somebody with no kids. No offense, Auntie Ann. She goes, let's have a day without no crying. And I'm like, you've never been a mom, have you? Because I know at this point, they're going to cry at some point. Yeah. They're going to get a boo-boo. They're not going to get their way.
And it's funny because you get to know the different type of cries.
Right.
There's the one that they're trying to get attention, and it's like, all right, that's fake. I see no tears. I see, because my boys are just the same way. I'm like, look, I see no blood. There's nothing broken.
Right.
You were fine. Yeah, Mom. Yeah. Like, they know, but it's just the way that at that point, it's more of like, okay, I just need a hug, or there's something else going on. So it's just more of that.
Deeper than that.
Yeah. Right.
And you and your husband have a wonderful relationship. What's some marriage advice that works, that you'd give to others that has worked in your marriage? Especially being high school sweethearts.
Yeah, we've gone through everything up and down. I mean, between moves and losing some family members, obviously having kids, our family has grown. The hurricane they had just a few years ago. I mean, we've gone through so many different things, even just being so far away. And that was a big thing with our kids too, because we don't have any family members that live around us. We have friends. We've just learned that, it's us. It's us against the world. We'll figure it out. If we don't, we can always ask for help, but we will always figure it out together. We communicate. We have our family times together. We have our space away from each other at some point. Like my husband, he goes on, some golfing trips and, that sort of thing. And I'm planning a girls' trip. And we just have that balance in that way. There's some things like, I may not always agree with, what is being said, but it's like, wait a minute. Okay, that's how you feel. Okay, I understand that and respect that. It's just understanding and respecting each other, having those moments, even like date nights. Even for us, it's not even having to go out to have dinner. It's more of, we can sit on the porch. We can sit there and watch the sunset because we can see the reservoir right there.
Yeah, you guys have a fantastic view from your house.
Yes, I love it. And those are just you take little moments like that. Or our kids are old enough now where, we need to go to the store real quick. They're fine to be at home. And we're raising them to be independent in that way. And then we go for walks. That's a big thing we've been working on doing on the evenings, is going for an evening walk in the neighborhood, just for the two of us. And that's a time that we can decompress. We can talk about, anything and everything, work, which we try not to really talk about work too much because it's like, okay, we all go through it. Yeah.
And that communication piece really just holds a marriage together, because when you're not communicating, I feel like is when things go wrong. So if you're making the time to, even Matt and I have been so busy last couple of weeks. Last night he brought in a bottle of wine. He goes, we're having a date night. And we're just sitting in our bedroom
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's because we haven't sat down and talked. Like, we
but
just
those are
need
those
to
things
talk.
you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be big and grand.
No, it doesn't.
The kids are in bed. Okay. The animals are, they're laying down, sleeping, or whatever the case is. And you know what? We can be in there. We'll make dinner together. There's nights where, we love doing that sort of thing. I mean, we made kind of like dance around. There's it's just, you're keeping that spark going. Obviously, we've known each other for 23 years this summer. So, I mean, it's been a long time. You know each other's strengths and weaknesses in that regard. And you're like, okay, I can tell when you're not feeling well, what's going on. Like I said, dinners, walks, just even car rides. I mean, it's just those little moments that you can take, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
What was the most proudest moment of your life where you're like, I'm doing it. I'm doing what, my purpose is in life?
That's a good one, I think.
You're so proud of yourself.
That's a hard one because it's one of those things that you're figuring out daily, monthly, weekly. I mean, I am pretty hard on myself when it comes to, my work ethic and, obviously with my kids, it's like, did I fail them today? But when they're sitting there and they're out in public or they're, with even here at work hanging out and the way that they are with other adults and other people, it's the respect and it's how they engage. That's a winning thing for me. That's where I'm like, okay, I'm actually doing okay as a parent and a mom. And then obviously with my husband, with him succeeding in his career, in that regard, then you know what? I'm his backbone as well. Like we are a power couple. We've got each other's back. For me, it's more of, okay, I can breathe. I can relax. Everything is good. We're doing okay. We have a beautiful home. We work very hard. And it's not the materialistic things. It's more of just enjoying the moments and living and, taking day by day and just doing those fun things and trying not to say no on a lot of different things. Because, you ask my kids, I say no a lot. But
oh, me too.
Yeah.
Because Matt says yes to everything. So,
Oh, yeah.
What's been a roadblock in your life where you're like, you had to overcome that, but it's kind of made you who you are?
I think it's just being a strong person with my siblings and how, I was kind of one of the second in command as a kid as well. My mom was very strong. She worked a few jobs, very strong woman. And I would be the one that would take care of my siblings and make sure they were good to go. I learned to cook at a young age. How
old?
9.
Wow.
I was making full meals and, making sure my siblings were getting ready and going off to school. And then I would go to school and I actually started my own personal business. Not personal, it's a babysitting business at like 10, 11. So it's like I've always kind of been in that role of nurturing, helping, assisting, just
so
being
at a
that
very
person.
Young age. Wow.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. How many siblings do you have?
Well, we are like a Brady bunch, so there's about 9.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
all my moms.
Okay.
Yeah. So she actually had 5 for living. One was stillborn. Yep. So that was hard. Obviously I knew I was around at that time. Obviously I was like 8 or 9 at that time. But it's just the character and what you go through on a daily basis is what makes you the person that you are. It depends on, good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't matter. It's up to you to put that in the positive way. Learn from it, move on.
I love that. Favorite color is teal, like Tiffany blue.
Turquoise, teal, Tiffany blue, yep.
Yep, that's your jam.
That is my jam, yep.
Speaking of jams, like what's your favorite song?
See, I'm kind of one of those people, I'm like, I don't have a definitive answer, but I like to listen to a lot of different things. Like,
okay, so if you were a baseball player and you're stepping up to bat, what's your jam?
Man. I don't know. I go to rock. I'm also like, I love Metallica. The Black Album was my favorite one.
Cheapers.
Country. I was raised in the South, so I mean, we had country. I mean, I'm the 90s country, like Reba. Yes, Travis Tritt. I mean, going on and on. But I think it just depends on the mood. Like, even when I'm working out, it's just hard rock. It's got to go fast. It's got to go hard.
What song do you want, like, played at your funeral? I don't know. Like, I want to know the song that, like, represents you or, like...
I don't know. The one that's like a happy song for me, and
Sure.
It's so cheesy and funny. This actually goes back to Linda. I'll give a shout out to you. When I used to do her hit class, she would always play this, and it was Footloose.
Okay.
Kenny Loggins' Footloose.
Yeah.
And that one, it just gets you
in your
excited and
blood.
pumped up. It's just, I mean, it's an older song, obviously, but at the same time, it's just one of those, like, it's a happy song. Mm-hmm. You just feel yourself dancing
Okay,
around.
that's what I was looking for. Favorite movie?
Are we talking, like, now or just in general?
Whatever. What's your favorite movie? First one that pops in.
Favorite movie, like a childhood favorite, is Little Mermaid. That's my favorite.
Too. Yes, we're both.
I
Little
ruined that
Mermaids.
VHS. The first time my mom had to buy a replacement.
We're on the VHS. Some of you don't even know what that is, but that's how we grew up.
Like, well, I don't know what a DVD is.
I know my kid will be like, "Well, just rewind it," and like sometimes we're like on a different channel. You can't do that. And in my age, you don't even want to know what we had to do.
That's like the cassette tapes. We had to take the pencil and go back.
Yeah.
I'm going way back now. But even now, like favorite movies, like a favorite one is Love Actually. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones that I could watch all the time. Still Magnolia is one of my favorite ones as well. So I mean, there's just I guess an eclectic type of personality where it's just, I like different things. Depends on my personality at the moment and whatever the vibe is for the day.
Do you read a lot?
Not as much as I want. That was part of my goal there. Growth is to read more, listen to more audiobooks. It's just I'm trying to do like 2 or 3 a month, and I'm still maybe at 1.
Yeah. Maybe we should challenge each other, like listen to the same one at the same time, and then go have lunch and just chat about it.
I'm down. Let's do that.
Start doing that.
Sure.
1 a month.
Sure.
I pick one, you pick one.
Audible or actually reading it?
Whatever you want. Honestly, so I've always I want to start reading more. So I joined a book club like a year ago. Like actually my workout crew, you would know because you worked at Snap.
With Michelle and them?
Yeah. So now we do like a book club. And we get together like every 2 months. And I love it because I didn't read and I wanted to challenge myself to read more because I do feel like knowledge is power. The more you know and your vocabulary, everything.
See, part of for me though, when
I did
read
audio and it's fantastic. It's so much easier.
Once you're engaged, you can really absorb it. Now, like for reading, for me, it's one of those things where I don't want to be too tired when I'm reading in bed because then I feel myself going, I'm nodding off. Or if there's something else going on, I have to read the same paragraph twice because I'm like, wait, did I actually read all that?
Yeah. Huh. So what's on your bucket list? What are some of your goals? Dreams.
See, that's where you get down and dirty right there, where it's like, okay, really think what you want to do for yourself.
I'm getting down and dirty. And white. I'm wearing white today.
I know I've mentioned before, I actually want to start my own podcast as well.
What?
Yeah. Yep. Mia's been trying to get me. I'm like, okay, I'll ease into this.
Okay, let's talk more. Yeah. What kind of podcast do you want to do?
It's almost like kind of like how yours is, where it's you're talking to women just to get to know them. And I like the aspect of the daily life too. It's like, all right, like when you sit down talking with girlfriends, it's like, all right, some of these conversations, they can be recorded. It's like, wait a minute, like, do you talk like that? It's like we just have random outbursts, and there's just like, do you understand that? Oh, I totally understand that. It's just, understanding where they are in their life, what you pick up on, because I have a few girlfriends that we talk, and we're just, where have we been? Where have you been all my life? Like, I haven't met you until I moved here. And it's like, okay, so I'm not the only one that thinks like this. Or even like guys too, it's like, what are you thinking when it comes to it? It could be relationship wise. It could be, interests and hobbies and just anything and everything. It seems like it'd be fun to do. Even my husband, I was like, maybe we could do one. I was like, I don't know. We'll have to see about that one. But yeah.
You should. Absolutely. This was like nerve-wracking. So what was my...
Oh, I was nervous doing this today. But I'm comfortable. I'm like, I'm calming down now. I think it's because of the camera. Oh. I'm usually behind the camera.
Drink some wine. Yeah.
Just drink a little bit and be good.
Oh, you should totally... Is this your first podcast you've ever done? Or did you do one for Wake Up or Snooze?
I did one for Wake Up.
Okay.
That was the first one. This is the second.
Okay. Yep. Well, and she was supposed to be this on like a year ago, and I just got her. Wow. She finally came in at my office, was a couple of days ago. She goes, I'm ready. I'm like, you're ready for what? She goes, I'm ready to do the podcast. And I'm like, yes!
If you'll still have me, yeah.
Of course I will. Yeah. Just when you're ready, because I know you're just very like...
And see, that's the part, I think that's a weakness on my end, is where, because I do analyze. I'm one of those people, like, I love to people watch.
Oh,
like
me
in the
too.
Springs. I don't know if you've been to the Red Martini Bar, I believe. It's downtown. It's got a fireplace on the outside. It's been in between like
Apparently, I don't go out enough anymore.
we haven't been there in years.
Okay.
It's between the mansion and I think something else. But it's like you
Okay.
can sit there with the fire outside and you just watch people walk around.
Yeah.
I love doing that. I would just watch people. I try not to stare, but at the same time, I just love to people watch because it's just something fun to do.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's one of my weaknesses is where I overanalyze. I don't just live in the moment at that point. I'm like, is that going to be good or not? Like, okay,
So what
then
are
I'll
you
go for it.
overanalyzing right now? Like, what's your brain saying right now?
How stupid do I sound?
Oh, you don't sound stupid at all.
Well, because, I mean, like the first time I'm actually hearing my voice, I'm like, well, that's what I sound like. Like, you don't realize
Isn't
what you
that
sound
weird?
like. It's like, okay, it's
Yeah.
not so bad. Once you get
Used to
rolling
it.
and comfortable and talking, because sometimes I do, which is a joke in my house too, because when I get excited and I'm talking about something, I'll turn two words into one. And my husband's like, yeah, I totally knew what you meant. Okay, good. At least you understood my verbiage here, because I do that.
So what else? What other kind of quirky things I want to know about you? You get excited, add two words together. What else do your boys know that really nobody else knows? Like, I want to get to know you on a deeper level right now.
That's a good question. Trying to think. Like, I don't know. I dance around the house, which is kind of normal, but it's now food. I love food. Especially like when my husband grills or smokes, like the slow cooking on the smoker, and he knows exactly what I like, and I'm just like, I get that little happy dance, and he's just like, oh, you love it. I'm like, I don't even have to say anything. It's just,
Show me your happy dance. Let's see it.
I can't really do it. It's just, I just get like the big smile, like cheesy, happy smile. My eyes get really small, like you can't see my eyes, and I'm just like, okay, just living in my moment. I love that sort of thing.
You know, you're a woman with 3 males in a house, and there's a lot of women like that. You know, just boy mom.
Yep.
What do you do to keep your feminine side?
I go to the nail salon.
Oh yeah, you do always have your nails done.
Recently,
They're
I
always
stopped doing
pretty.
that for a little while, but yeah, I do that. It's a nice little break. I have my own little office upstairs that I have like my crafting, and
What kind of crafts do you do?
I used to make accessories. At one point, I was making jewelry and bows for little girls. At some point, I think it was just my outlet because I didn't have a girl. I'm like, okay, I'll make them for my nieces and whatnot. And at some point, I would, cheesy me for like holidays. Like I would make like fascinators. So it was like I would pull it. It's like a clip on the side. You can pull your hair up, or it's like a hat with
You
like
make
netting.
those?
I didn't make the hats. I made the little like
Yeah.
hairpiece bows that would go on the side, and I would do those. I made jewelry. I even make my own earrings at some point. It's just something I just like painting and just being hands-on with things, or even just woodworking. I've done that as well. We had a table that I did when we got married that it was just I sanded it all the way down to the pretty parquet wood, and we had it for a long time in our kitchen, and then we sold it with our other house. But it was one of those things where it's just like I can do that for myself. Just getting ready to get the blowtorch out or get the heat gun out and
Get it, girl.
You're
You're a badass.
I like doing that kind of stuff. It's just it's one of those things where it's like is what it is. Like going back to the car thing, like another quirky thing, I'll tell you that the smell of gasoline.
Excites you.
I love the smell of gasoline.
What? So we need to get you a gasoline candle.
No, no.
Like burn it.
The car exhaust, like older cars, like being at car shows, they would rev their car, or like going to the
Friday Night Lights
or
or anything like that.
like the car track down here. I
Yeah,
think it's
PMI.
PMI. We used to go down there and watch the cars. I would love to actually race a car. That would be my goal, is to race a car.
A 19-something year
That, or just
Mustang.
even a car that we decide just to rip apart and do it ourselves. We actually thought about making a fast bug, VW bug.
Wait, so you grew up with a single mom?
No, she was married, but it was more so she was more the mother and father role.
Okay, so where did you get your love for cars?
Actually, that's a really good question. I think it was probably
Grandpa?
my uncle. My uncle was he was a mechanic.
Okay.
My grandfather actually was a race car driver.
Oh,
Yep.
that's cool.
Way before we were born. He actually would race because he was actually in the military, and then he would do that on the side. He had, I forgot what number he even had, but it was the old dirt pits that he would race. So those, I grew up with those in Georgia. Like that's what the whole thing, I don't know if maybe people know, boiled peanuts.
Oh,
That's like, I love boiled peanuts.
we
It's
had
just something
that
in
one
the
of our
South.
potlucks. Did you
Yep.
make that, or I thought
I brought
Brooks
'em.
made it?
Yep.
You brought the
I
boil.
brought 'em.
I didn't get
Yep.
it.
Okay.
But, so that's a southern thing.
It's a weird thing for some people because if you drive down because Alabama, they do have like a peanut festival, but there's
really
fruit stands. So they also make them there, so you can buy them in like bags and cups and stuff like that. That it's just you can make them Cajun. I actually thought about making them in a green chili type of thing, but that's something I would do with cars. Just cars in general. It's like that was part of the racetrack life. You just kind of visited, you watched them race, and the accidents, which of course you don't want people to get in an accident, but it was just like, okay. I mean, everybody got excited. And it was just one of those like Saturday night things that you would do, and then car shows. And I've been in a few car shows where I would dress up and pin up, and it's just something that
that's
I don't know.
You like it. Yeah. You know what you should do with Matt and I? One of the things that brought us together was demolition derby car. Have you ever heard this story?
No.
So we were just friends on Facebook, and he put on Facebook like, hey, I'm looking for a demolition derby car. If anybody has any I could buy, let me know. And I'm like, hey, that's on my bucket list. Let me know if you find a second car. I'm totally in. And he goes, you have a bucket list? I've never met a girl with a bucket list. And then that's how we started and so this year we're actually going to do the demolition derby. So if you're interested, you should hop on board and let's like do a.
Is it going to be here?
Well, yeah, at the state fair. Well, I don't know with Tommy G passing
Okay.
But he's the one that always puts it on, and we should do it. We're doing it this year. Matt actually already has a guy looking for cars for us. We're doing it this year.
I'll say, hell yeah, count me in. Yeah. Yes! That'd be awesome.
We're going to do it.
I love it.
All right. So if you could have lunch with somebody dead or alive, who would it be?
Mm-hmm.
And why?
Well, because of my roots and family is everything to me, it would be my grandfather. He passed away when I was 9 of cancer. So he was the male role model besides my uncle, multiple uncles actually. He was the man that was everything. I was always by his side on everything. I mean, I would help him plant flowers, which that's a funny story in general. He wasn't a very mean person, but me and a friend up the street decided to rip up the flowers.
That was a no-no.
That was something I got my butt whooped all the way up the driveway. So don't do that. But yes, he was the man. I mean, he had like the perfect hair, the 50s greaser hair. I mean, he had it a certain way, and he had a gruff voice, but he was very tender-hearted, and he was my buddy. I was the first grandchild on both sides, so
you were rotten. You were the favorite,
but I was never really spoiled.
But that's why you're like the perfect kid, because you're the first kid.
I'm the one that goes through everything, and then I know.
Right. What would you ask him, or what would you tell him?
I want to know how, because that was the same year my mom lost one of her children. So it was the same year that he passed as well. So it was kind of one of those things like, how's he doing? Because I kind of believe in those like afterlife type of things. But I would want to know, how are you doing? What's going on? How do you think life is here? Are you watching over us? Or, because I always think he's like my guardian angel type of thing. Just to see, are you proud of your kids and your grandkids and the life that they have now and where they are? Would you do things differently? Would you have noticed that you were sick beforehand? Or just, those simple things of just, sitting down and having, some corn on the cob and having some strawberries, just having those little quiet moments. And, he was my favorite person. Always will be. So actually my youngest son is named after him. So his middle name is my grandfather's name. Yeah. We do that with our kids. Our oldest, his middle name is after my husband and his father. And then my youngest is after my grandfather.
Oh,
yep. My brother actually is named after our grandfather as well. So it was like a family name. So we wanted to keep that going.
What is it?
Donald. Yep.
Good old Donald.
Yep. People call him Donnie or Don Don. My little brother, we call him Don Don. So it's always been a thing. But yeah, he would be the one that I would love to spend hours with. Yep.
What are some of your hobbies? I know you guys like boating. You like crafting. What else?
Crafting, painting. I do have rollerblades.
What?
Rollerblade. Yes. Actually, one of my things, I would love to be in a roller derby. Just knock people over.
I could see that, like sweet Erin, but like
I guess that's the bold side.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're actually, you probably have seen this. We are rebuilding our boat. We took it all the way down to the flooring. My husband, he's been doing like 90% of the work on it. We kind of help him a little bit here and there because he is meticulous with the wiring and whatnot. So it's totally fine. We're just about done. So the goal is to have it done and ready to go for Mother's Day. So we'll go out on the lake for Mother's Day.
You love it. And what do? Do you just chill on the boat? You drink on the boat? You fish on the... What do you do? All the things? What kind of boat do you have?
It's a pontoon.
On the
party barge.
pontoon.
Yep, those are my favorite. I love those. I mean, before that, we had an older boat. So, like, our style is we will buy things a bit older and used. Like, we had an older camper. I think it was like 84, 85. So, it was a bit older, and you could tell it was used. Just to get to know what it's like to have that and take care of it, to fix it, and that sort of thing. And, of course, the kids were smaller. So, now, they're bigger, and we have a bigger camper. So, we know. And we went to something bigger. But even with the boat, we had a little bit of a speedboat. It was older. I mean, it stunk when the motor was going. I mean, it was just, okay. But we learned how to use the boat.
And you camp, too, then.
We do camp. Yep. Sometimes we boondock, and sometimes more of like KOAs where we can plug in, kind of like glamping.
Boondock. I love that you call it boondock.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm a lot of different things.
What are you scared of?
Spiders. Heights.
Oh, me too.
Even though the weirdest thing with heights, though, because a little tidbit here, back in like high school for prom, my junior prom actually, my goal was I wanted to go bungee jump in my prom dress. I didn't do it, but it was one of those things like, it sounds stupid and fun, but I'm like, I wouldn't be able to jump. Like, I wouldn't.
Did you even like go to a place, or is it just something you said?
It was something I said.
Okay.
I was like, no.
No.
But yeah, I mean, like I do want to do more of zip lining. Like we did one.
That's not bad.
Rushmore.
Because I feel like it's different. You know what I'm saying? Ziplining is a little bit different when it comes to heights.
A little bit. Depends on where you go. Because sometimes
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm on top of the trees. Like, But there's a place in Castle Rock, I think it is. It's like a big old, like you.
Monument.
Yeah, I think it's out there. It's huge where you like strap in and you can do these different activities. You're zip lining. And it's just, I was like, maybe we need to do that.
You should.
Put that on the list for this year.
There's one in Manitou, too.
Is there? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I used to do all of his billboards. He's a good guy.
Oh, you have to tell me where that is. I'll have to go there.
We did it. It's fine. So, yeah, go do the Manitou. Go hike the Manitou and then go
Okay.
do that.
I know one of our later lists, I think, is the incline. Never done the incline.
What?
Been here this long and never did the incline.
Oh, my gosh. Especially you being a worker outer. And
Well, my knees. My knees are pretty bad because I walk
So
and they
fun.
grind.
you need to do it.
Excuse me. I probably should.
So
Just
the
a sec.
summer is the year of grow, so you're going to grow on the incline. Are you
Possibly.
going to grow like a certain flower or tree too this year?
Let's see. We want to grow tomatoes, watermelon, squash, some herbs. I actually have a honeysuckle tree we didn't know it was there when we bought the house because it looked like it was one of those, like it comes out every other year. Because the first year it didn't bloom. And the next year I'm like, what am I smelling? And I'm like, that smell, it was my grandparents. And I'm like, I have a honeysuckle tree. So I would be down there and I'd show the boys how to like actually, get the honeysuckle out of it because you can eat it.
What?
Yeah. You take out the back and it's got a little bit of, yeah. Oh yeah. That's one of my favorite things, like honeysuckle and then fireflies. Fireflies, I love fireflies. They're gorgeous. They're just like pretty and just, you can just see them.
And you probably had them like
Oh, Georgia was
freezing and
big.
stuff. So I had never seen one till last year. It was on my bucket list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I thought fireflies were like mysterious creatures that really
Nope,
didn't
they're
happen.
real.
Kind of like the tooth fairy, Like I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
No, they're real and they're magical.
Oh, I love them. And some people, like, you have the mean people that would like kill them and they would like smear the little light type of, not light, but the glow stuff. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I just think they're cute and you just watch them fly around, especially at night, obviously, is when you can see them, but it was just really pretty to watch. Yeah.
So what else is on your bucket list? Racing, podcasting.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it just comes with the wind, like whatever he like pops in. It's like, okay, I can go for that. I can try it. At one point I thought about writing a book, but I was like, no, I won't do that. I don't know. I'm like, meh.
But we're going to start reading books.
Yes.
And then maybe we'll be inspired.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I think that the big thing too, like the whole podcasting thing, I think is more of telling more stories of, being okay with history. If you have anything in your history that has stopped you from achieving your goals, like it has been a hindrance or it's just, I can't do that. There's no way. Why? Go for it.
Is there something in your history
No, it's just more of,
that you want to share?
No, I think it's more or less, why? Why have you stopped? Because whatever you've gone through, someone else has gone through it, or you're helping them along in that journey. And then, it's just one of those things where it's like a conversation. It's like, you never know, when you're just talking to someone that, hey, that really hit me. And it could be just something so small as talking about like an interview. It's like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's a really good point, where it's just, you're having more conversation with people. And I think that's what also helps you grow as well, because it grows that knowledge of other people and surroundings and awareness.
One, if you would have known sooner, would you have made that same mistake, or, a lesson to be learned?
Right. Even like my career itself is, I put a lot of effort into what I'm doing, because, at one point I was told I will never amount to anything. So I think that's probably why I put so much effort into my work ethic, because
and that's why
damn
you're
it, I
a
will.
badass.
Yep. I
like
will.
we can do anything we do without Erin. You're
I won't go that far.
You're the secret sauce.
Oh, I like that.
And you're
All right.
so loyal. I feel like that's another word to describe you. Like, you are very loyal to anything you dedicate yourself to, whether it's your family or your, work or anything. You're very loyal to everything you set your heart to.
Yes.
You have a nose ring. When did you get that?
Oh man, I think my kids were, it's probably been about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have piercings, I have tattoos, and a lot of people, they don't know
I
it.
used to have my nose pierced?
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That hurt.
Well, I was always told I'm not a bleeder. So for me, it's for some people may know this or not, it's kind of a weird thing. Like with tattoos or piercings, it's more of like a therapeutic thing.
Oh.
Like I remember
How many tattoos do you have? You don't have that many.
I lost count, 2, 3.
Oh, you
I think
lost
7.
count?
I think I have like 7.
That's not a lot.
No, because even the same guy at Snap before I was actually already working there, and I usually wear long sleeves. So I know when to cover and that sort of thing. It's just my personal preference. Not like I'm hiding them, but it's just my preference because they're for me.
Yeah.
I was going to reach for something, and they saw my tattoo, and they're like, "You have tattoos?" Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have never thought you had tattoos.
What's your favorite one?
There's a little pain. All of mine have certain meaning. Like I have one that's actually for my grandfather. It's the honeysuckle. The heart is for colon cancer. It also has like, you probably can't see because I'm kind of tan, but it's got the nightlight, or I keep saying nightlight, lightning bug, like the little green. I have that in the tattoo. I have an Irish claddagh, which is friendship. Oh gosh, I always forget it. It's the different things. It's like love, friendship, and honor, I think is what it is. So I have a couple of those, but I have ones that have my kids' initials in them, and then my husband's initial in the heart. He has the same, but obviously my initial. I have a breast cancer one that's for my mom. My mom is a breast cancer survivor.
Oh wow.
She hit 15 years this year. So
that's awesome.
That's a big deal. That's one of those things. I was also part of Relay for Life when we lived in Texas. And my oldest son, he was like 2, I think. So we did those things. Like I like doing those sort of things. I like being part of Relay for Life and Susan Coleman, Special Olympics. That was our big thing that we love to do, and we're still working on being more involved.
Yeah,
with
what
those
are you
sort of
going to
things.
do here?
I'm not sure because obviously we're not from here, so we're still figuring out Pueblo. Because people look at you and wait, you're not from here?
Right, you
No.
get that right. Like, what high school did you go to? You're like, what high school did you go to?
I went to Bay High School.
Yeah, they're like, well, that's not a Pueblo.
Nope.
And then they just move on, right? Like, do you get that?
Oh yeah. Well, and I think Kendra was one of those too, where she's like, "Who are you? Where are you from? What do you like?" People just want to know because it's such a small town that everybody wants to know, or they already know everybody. And when you're not,
But you love it here because you've been here for how long now?
we're going on 8 years.
And do you plan on leaving anytime soon?
No.
You're not allowed to, actually. So
Unless we retire and like we move to Florida or something, but no, most likely not because we love our location. We love how we're just.
Well, you need to get you more. You're growing. So how can we grow you in the community? That's something I'm going to challenge you to do.
More in the community.
Yeah. Like, what are you passionate about? What can you give back to the community? Because you always volunteer for the things that we have going on and stuff.
I want to be more involved with like, more events as in just more like charity events that it goes back to the schools or it goes back to a specific cause. That's always been one of my things, like Relay for Life, because obviously that typically encompasses all cancer types and that sort of thing, and it's not just one. But since my family, we've been affected by it, and we're, we always get, the testings done and make sure, how we're doing and whatnot. But I thought about CASA, but that's a little more in depth for me. That would be hard because I get attached.
Yeah, it's
and
not easy.
I love to help out any way I can, but it's like, what do I fit? what else can I do? Because I mean, even reaching out for, Gasparetti with Amy is like, hey, what else is there out there? What else can we do? Even here at Wake Up, I think challenging that, it's like, how can we bring up more events? How can we create more events that's going out to the community? And what is lacking? What do we need?
That's what you're always doing. You're always finding like the problem and bringing the solution to the table.
Yes.
That's just what you do.
Yes, I guess it's just my nature. Yeah.
What else do we need to know about Miss Erin Gust?
I don't know. You might see me on a roller derby.
Yes.
Busting.
You should.
People.
I'll come watch you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I could.
I need front row tickets though.
I'm still getting better at being on rollerblades because I used to.
Do you just rollerblade around your neighborhood?
No, we would actually go to the tennis courts and just kind of because it's smoother.
Ah.
I used to rollerblade on gravel, like on their street when I was younger. I would be able just to when you're a kid, it's like you're made of
Nothing.
you're limber and you can
Right.
you fall down, it's okay. And now it's like, well, that's going to take me 2 weeks to heal.
Right. It sucks getting older. That's the only thing that sucks getting with age.
I need bumper pads or something. But
Right.
I mean, it's keeping myself active enough where I'm keeping up with my kids. And then eventually whenever they have kids, which down the line, but we've even talked about that. What would we name each other if we're grandparents? I'm like, I don't want to think about it, but at the same time.
What would you name yourself?
Gigi.
Gigi. Why Gigi?
I don't know, I have a grandma. My mom is Mima to my kids. I don't know, it was just like Gigi. It's kind of I don't know, a fancy grandma name.
Fancy grandma. So
it's a bold grandma name.
So we call my grandma Gigi for my kids, and it stands for great grandma.
Oh,
so that's why we do Gigi.
That or it's like Nini, and I'm like, I don't think I'm a Nini.
But you're not a grandma. Okay, we can't be talking about this. It's definitely way too soon.
Another fun fact, actually.
I love fun facts.
My name
Give them to me.
originally was not going to be Erin.
What was it going to be?
My grandfather told my mom that he loved the name Juanita. So my mom was like, oh, okay, we'll do that. And, it was not going over well. So that's how my name came out. It was Erin. They changed it.
I love it, but it's supposed to be Juanita.
Yeah, that's what he liked.
I love it. Yeah. That's a
So
fun name. I don't even think I know one.
I had a friend, my mom had a friend named Juanita, but it wasn't I was like, really? Juanita? Because at one point I didn't like my name.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because, in the 80s, growing up in the early 90s, Erin wasn't a really common name.
Oh,
I think it's coming about more now.
Yeah.
Well, because I went through a boy phase where it's I chopped off my hair because I had hair way past my butt. I was super long and wavy. And our school would allow girls to wear hats. Well, I was in that phase where you wear bigger clothes because you're kind of body conscious. I wore a hat and I was told to take it off. I wasn't allowed to wear it. Come to find out, other girls are wearing their hats. I couldn't. They thought I was a boy.
What?
Yeah.
No.
So after that was okay.
With long hair?
No, it was short. I chopped it.
Oh, magic.
So of course,
Gotcha.
That was a big thing where it's really. But I like my name. It's 4 letters. It's pretty. It's simple. It is me.
I love it. It is you.
Yeah. It's okay.
I know when we used to have another Erin work for Erin, AA.
AA Ron.
So yeah, no, I call him AA, and sometimes I'm always I still call you Erin Erin,
yep.
Because that's how Matt would be like, well, what Erin are you talking about?
Erin or Aaron?
Double A or E, yeah, but
yeah, it'd be like Erin. I'm like, yep, I'm here.
Yep.
That's me.
What does the word influential mean to you?
Courageous, bold. I think it's more of a vibe as well. It's what you're putting off to everyone else. How you are seen, what you are projecting, your confidence, what you're teaching other people. It could be just, you don't have to say anything. I think it's just an aura too. You just exude it. And what you're doing obviously in the community too. It's just, I think it's a whole big world type of thing where it's not one facet for me. There's different things.
That is so interesting. How do you think you're portrayed here at Wake Up or Snooze or whatever business you want to talk about?
The multiple businesses I kind of help.
Kind of,
yeah.
You do a lot.
I do,
we
and I love it.
You.
Well,
I don't know if we tell you that enough, but we appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's rewarding in itself just because seeing the teams that are here and living the vision and seeing that out from Matt. Because, I mean, going from the different things that he's done. I mean, there's some businesses that we don't even have anymore. But it's part of that, too, where it's just, okay, how did that transition and how, what does that do for the community as well? But I think for me, even for me to have some wisdom or some conversations with some of the team members when they need it, those are those moments that, okay, let's take a pause and have a conversation. What's going on?
Because you're like mama bear in the business. Like, people will go to Erin's office and they'll sit in her cute little pink chair.
That's the only thing pink I have in there besides the rose gold stuff.
Well, you have a pink tiger.
Yes, I love white tigers, yes.
Whatever.
Yep.
You love white tigers.
Is
that your favorite animal?
Yep.
Yep. Anyways, but like your office is like the spot. Like, sometimes you just need to go have a conversation with Erin. Like, you always have that open door, and you bring like that mama bear to the business where you're like, I'm going to protect you, but I'm going to listen to you and kind of guide you on, like.
And sometimes it's also putting the foot in the butt too. It's like, all right, come on, you guys can do this. Let's go. Yeah.
Do you? I feel like you're so nice.
Sometimes. I mean, I think it just depends on the moment when it's like, all right, we've talked about this. What's going on? Now you need to get back to work. Like, what do you need help on? What do you need to focus? How can I help you? Okay. If we've already gone through all that, what's going on? Because then at that point, there's something more in depth, because I was called Mama Snap over at Snap. And that's kind of faded out a bit. But, being that person, it's sweet. It's really nice, because then you feel like you're really coaching them along a little bit, or if they just need just a 5-10 minute conversation, like, okay, all right, I feel good, thank you, and then about their day they go. And it's one of those, it's a balancing act too, because it's, the door is always open, but at the same time, all right,
we got work
to do. Yes.
Absolutely.
You have work to do, and so do I. So I don't need boss man coming around going, this all you do is talk.
Right. Are you everybody's therapist?
I think so. I think that's kind of one of the roles too, where it's like you kind of take people under your wing a little bit, or you're like, hey, this is how things are. How can we change it? Everybody has ideas. What's your action? Because we all
keep everybody accountable too.
Yep. For the most part. Yep.
Well, Miss Erin, I think you're very courageous every day, and I know this year is your word of grow, but I have seen you in the last 8 years grow. Like, you have just grown tremendously. You step up every day to live up to your full potential every day. Every single day. Like, you just get it. You're an amazing mom. You're an amazing wife. You're an amazing coworker. And I'm just blessed to know you. So thank you for being influential in our world and doing all the things you do, because our life is complete. You are the yin to our yang. And I just appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to finding out some more things about the community as well. So if anybody has any ideas or...
let's challenge her.
Hey. Hit me up a little bit.
Anything else you want to add?
Oh, thank you. This was fantastic. It was fun.
Isn't she awesome? Give it up for Erin. And now we're going to drink some more wine.
Yes.
Because we're at work and it's like noon here. This is like our lunch. Well, I love you. Cheers to you being an influential woman.